All right, DJ TMac back here, Flavor in Your Ear Radio. We have an amazing artist with us for another great hip hop conversation. He is coming out of Long Island, New York. He does, I don't even want to just call him a street artist because he has many different styles and variations and things that he does. He does graffiti. He does very large murals, amazing portrait canvases, a lot of mixed media stuff. I've seen him do stuff on sneakers, in restaurants, recently finished up a food truck, the Ducati store in New York City, Ducati dealership, it looked like. I found him through Twitch, through his art class live streaming painting and auction series where he live paints and has an amazing, legendary, top-notch DJ mixing also right next to him. So pretty awesome that I found him through that. He's been featured on many different outlets, including NBC, ABC, ESPN, Newsday, many more, and he represents a few of the elements of hip hop. So let's get into it right now with Andaluz the Artist. Andaluz, thank you for taking the time to have this conversation.
Thank you. I'm gonna hire you to walk around with me and just say that to people. No.
We got it recorded, so
We
for
got
your next mixtape or whatever you're doing, you know what I'm saying? I got you.
It's crazy. I was like, oh, dang, I didn't. Okay, yeah, sure. You're right. I did do all those things.
Just doing some research, man. You've done a lot of amazing stuff, and I'm very glad to be able to speak to you about some of that stuff. So I
Thank you.
mentioned that I found you through the art class series. It was with Static Selective about a week ago. You were doing an amazing painting of Lauryn Hill. Talk about how that art class series came about.
All right, so funny story. I mean, not really funny, but it was all about quarantine. Uh, it was all about people being stuck inside their homes, especially when it first hit, and a lot of people were kind of losing their mind because they weren't getting paid. They were trying to figure out how to make money from home. And it all happened when we were kind of locked up inside. At this point, I had a lot of murals that I was working on, especially since I had did a few Kobe murals, and then I just got back from New York. I would actually stood longer in California if there wasn't a quarantine or the coronavirus going on.
Wow. Okay.
Forced to come back to New York, and I had other murals over there lined up, but I had to like let them be because I had to get back. Because if not, I would have probably been stuck there, and my family would have been here without me. So came back to New York. I did another two murals out here, and then everything just shut down. Once everything shut down, everybody was losing it. I'm a street artist. We're not big on rules, so we kind of do what we do anyways. But I was saying, I got to figure out how to work from home. So what we did is, for me, what I did is some of my clients that were supposed to do murals for, I actually set up this studio back here, a space in my cottage where I can paint. And I started taking their large murals and I put them on large canvases. And I told them, hey, a mural, eventually it's on a wall. Some is public art, some is inside, but eventually it gets torn down or something happens to it. But a canvas lasts way longer and it has more longevity, and the money, the value is in the canvas. So I kind of forced them to do canvas work. From there, I was saying I have to do something now. We have to do something. And I seen D Nice. You know who D Nice is, right?
Absolutely, doing the
So
club quarantine.
Club Quarantine. And I remember the first day, second day he was on, and everybody was just reposting and sharing. When I first came onto his page and I seen like 80,000, 90,000,
A lot
100,000
of people in there.
I was like, this is crazy. I've never seen nothing like that on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I
I was
started
in there.
thinking, yeah, we were all in there. I'm like, what is going on? Like, and I started seeing celebrities in there. And I was like, oh, it was like the first week. That's when everybody was losing. The second week, probably, people were losing their mind because they were stuck home. And I said, bro, everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on the internet because they can't do anything else. So in my head, I said, what can I do? And I said, I could paint live. I painted live before, but it gets boring because when people go live, they like to interact with the person. And so if I'm going live and I'm painting, but my back is towards you, that what I'm painting is cool. But unless I'm painting it super quick, you're not going to sit there and just watch because you want to interact.
Yeah.
So I have to have a way where I can interact with you. So I told myself when I seen him DJing, I'm like, DJing is the perfect thing to go live on because you can have a camera there and scratch and look at what you're saying and interact with you, right? I can't do that. So I said, I need a DJ. That's the first thing I said. I said, I need a DJ and I need to be painting while he's DJing, right? And we just make it entertaining. And so I know a few DJs, you know, from New York, and I've been in the hip hop realm for a while. And, you know, I was rapping before too, so I know a lot of people. I'm still rapping, but it's a little different. I do Christian hip hop now. But I had contacted my boy Scram Jones, legendary DJ / producer, and I had told him the idea, and you know, the rest was history. We tried it one time during the. Remember they had like the Michael Jordan series, The Last Dance?
Yep, Last Dance. Yep.
The first day it came out was on ESPN. It would come out every Sunday at like 9. So we did it. We went live one Sunday. When the first episode was gonna start, I said, let's go live on Sunday. Let's try to do an art auction. Let's see if we could sell this piece. Because I know I could paint in an hour to an hour and a half. I said, let's paint a Michael Jordan piece in an hour. We could start at 8 and try to do a live art auction because his following is bigger than mine. And plus, I have a good following. At that point, I was making a name. So I said, let's see how it goes. And maybe we could start the bid off at $200, you know, and see where it goes. And we did that. And there was a decent amount of people on the live. And then next thing you know, we get a $200 bid. Then someone else bid $225, $250, $300. We're like, now people are bidding and now they're into it. And we sold that piece in 1 hour for $550. So I'm like, after we got off, we looked at, you know, people sent us money through Cash App, Venmo, or whatever. And I called Scram, like, yo, that was crazy. He's like, yo, it was insane. I said, next week, we're going to do something. He said, yo, we should do 2 next week. And so that's what we started doing. We did 2 a week. The next week after that, we did Sade and Ghostface Killer. Sade sold for $350 and Ghostface sold for $750. So we made like $1,100 in 2 hours. And we were like, yo, this is crazy. And since then, that whole year, 2020, every painting that we painted was sold. And we sold over probably like 70 some pieces that we painted just on art class. And then eventually 2021, we switched over to Twitch just because Instagram was acting funny with the music, with the DJs and taking off music. You know, we're in the middle of a bid and then everything shuts off. That's no crazy. Good. Yeah, so we had to learn how to transition. And, you know, right now I have a camera here, you know, set up. I have cameras all in here. So we do live 4K Twitch feeds and the sound quality is better. You know, it's just a progression to transfer your IG following the Twitch, but it's been pretty good. And the people that are always on anyways, they're ready to purchase, they're ready. And now we said, and I'm going to focus on also more DJs. So Scram is still my partner, but you know, we're going to get more DJs like we did with Static Selecta and DJ Thorough. Right now we're searching for some Twitch DJs to do this with, because we feel like there's so many people that we can reach that haven't seen what we're doing.
Exactly.
This could go to a higher level. And Scram, he's calling me the hip hop Bob Ross now. So
I like it.
I guess that's what it is. I got to grow a little afro.
AKA hip hop Bob Ross. Very nice. I like it. Do you have a favorite live session that you did or a favorite piece that you did part of that art class series?
Oh man, I got a few pieces. The first one was always like crazy, right? I think I did a Notorious B.I.G. That was pretty insane because the Notorious B.I.G. went for like 12. No, it went for a little more. No, it went for $1,200. So that was the first time we hit $1,000.
Serious, yeah.
It was insane. We're like, whoa, it was biggie, and that was crazy. And then I would say the ones that top that are the ones where like the prices just were crazy, right? Like one, for example, we did. It was during like some sort of anniversary that had to do with Kobe. Maybe it was his birthday or something. We did 2 Kobe pieces. We did a young Kobe and an older Kobe, and like the first piece went for $3,000, and the second piece went for $3,800. And these are pieces like an hour and a half to 2 hours each, right?
That's amazing.
It was crazy. And then another one was, and this was the highest sold painting on our art class, was we did when Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P., when he passed away, and then we gave a percentage to colon cancer. He passed away, and we did a tribute to him. So we did a Jackie Robinson. Sorry, we did a Jackie Robinson piece, and then we did a Black Panther piece. And the Black Panther, it was half his face, half Black Panther's face. That sold for $5,100 in 2 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. So it's been really nutty, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned you did like over 70 of them. And that's awesome. Yeah, to be branching out with different DJs, I think that's a great idea because I found you through Static Selector. So when you do, DJ Thorough or whoever comes next, you're going to grab their audience also. So that's awesome. Great idea and planning that way. One of the pieces that I also imagine is probably one of your favorites. I don't think it was part of the art class series, but you were doing one of Shaq and Kobe. And I believe Shaq ended up popping in the live and purchasing that piece from you. Can you talk about that experience a little bit and what that was like? Because I believe he was a big influence of yours, right?
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal was like, I don't say idol just because I only idolized God, but he was close to it. When I was growing up, he was my guy. He was like what other people look at Michael Jordan or Derek Jeter or some of these big athletes. Shaquille O'Neal was the dude that I looked up to. He influenced a lot of how I am even now today. And so, hence my favorite basketball players, Shaq and Kobe, and I wouldn't know too much about Kobe. I wouldn't be a huge fan if it wasn't for me being a huge fan of Shaq, right? So I was going on live, and what happened was they were doing something on TNT, and they were showing the Kobe Bryant murals. So the guys over there had hit me up, and when I heard that they wanted to do something with one of my murals on TNT, I said, hey, can you get in contact with Shaq? Like, I would love to give this to Shaq. So the guy I was talking to, really nice dude, he was like, yeah, but he just, so already that's in my mind. What happens is once something's in my mind, it's getting done. Like there's no ifs or buts. I don't really think twice about it. Once it's there, it's going. So as soon as I had it in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna get a piece of Shaq. That's what I'm gonna do. And so he told me he could get it to him. Then he said that with the quarantine and stuff, that he's not gonna be able to get it to him until June because they're not even allowed to go into the office. So I'm like, that's a dub. So then in my head, I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure out a way to get this to Shaq. So I hit up my guy, KobeMural.com, who organizes a lot of Kobe murals in LA. He's a good friend of mine. And he was like, yeah, he knows some people. We could try to see what we can do. I was like, all right, cool. So I started working on this piece. Now, usually I don't do pieces for myself or any other piece if I'm not getting paid for it at this point. Like I'm so busy with work, I don't even have free time. But I said, yo, I'm gonna get this piece done for Shaq because this is my guy. I started working on it. About 2 days I worked on it, but I went live on Twitch while I was working on it. It was cool, people were watching. And then the third day, when I was almost done, I had Shaq spaced a decent amount, and I said, you know what? I said, let me go on Instagram Live, because most of my people are on Instagram Live anyways. Let's see if we can get his attention, who knows, whatever. So I come on to the cottage, and I come to the art studio, and I start painting, I go live, and I just put tag Shaq in the comment, I pinned it. There's probably like 11, 12 people watching, nothing major. Next thing you know, a guy named Tony comes on. And he's just like, oh, I'm Tony from Blue Chips. I'm like, okay, like I just looked at it and I just ignored it. But in my head, I'm like, Blue Chips. I know Blue Chips, the movie with Shaq, Penny Hardaway, and Nick Nolte, but I didn't think nothing of it. So I keep painting. So then he writes in the comment again. He said, I just text Shaq. So now I'm a little aggravated. I'm like, yo, don't play with me like that, man. Don't play with my emotions like that.
People be playing on the internet. They be trying to have fun.
Yeah. So I'm thinking someone's like messing with me. And then next thing you know, he writes again, I'm Tony from Blue Chips. So I said, you talking about Blue Chips with like Shaq and Penny? And he's like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, well, why would someone make that up? Like, that's just weird. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So especially like younger kids, if they were on Instagram, they don't know what the hell Blue Chips is. So then I'm just like, hey, I said, man, cool, man. If he did text you, man, that's crazy. But now I'm aware of what's going on because I'm like, he might really know Shaq. Because I was thinking as I was painting, I was like, man, this guy might know Shaq from when he was on Blue Chips with him. And for all you know, they've been friends ever since. And he's a close friend of Shaquille O'Neal, and he's really texting this guy. This is what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm like, anything's possible at this point. I know I'm a firm believer of God, and the weirdest stuff has happened to me. So I'm like, anything's possible. So I'm painting now, but I'm keeping an eye out on my live. Boom. Next thing you know, it says Shaq has joined your live. I lost it. And then from there, that's when the video came up and you see me losing my mind. I don't even get like, anyone that knows me knows I'm more serious. I don't even get like that. So a lot of people, they were just excited for me because they know I'm a little more serious, and I just look like a kid in a candy store. And then when he asked to go live, that's when I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even know what to say. I didn't even say, Shaq was going live with me. I didn't know. I was like, oh my God. You know, my aunt just popped on. I'm like, Didi Jesse, look, you know, I'm like, and she's like, what? I know, because she talked to you later. She's like, what happened? Like, and then boom, you see Shaq's head pop up on my screen, and it was just like, the rest is history. You know, he said he liked it. You know, I like that painting. That's incredible. The big Shaqtus Aristotle. You know what I mean? Like he just popped up and purchased the painting. His friend called me, and I just sent them. They wanted 10 prints for him and his family, and so we shipped 10 prints of that piece over to him with some extra goodies and whatnot. And he actually followed me from there. You know, and it's been crazy ever since.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. Thank you for telling that. That's a really cool experience. And you know, your art came a long way to have gotten to that point. So let's talk about a little bit of your evolution as an artist and just kind of growing up in the Queens and Long Island area. So you are originally from Queens, so I imagine you had a lot of influence from probably street art that you saw growing up around the neighborhood. And I also read that you were influenced by cartoons at a young age and you started sketching them. And then you had I guess a positive influence and backing from your family to kind of push you in the direction to do art. So kind of talk about starting out sketching, your grandfather giving you tips, and how that, you know, you eventually got the airbrush. So talk about the kind of evolution and the different steps that you had from when you started.
You really did your research, man. Good for you. That's good. That's great. I do a lot of interviews, and people don't know half the time what they just start asking random questions. So I'm glad that you actually really did do your research. So I was always into sketching. I was always into art since I was a little kid. I was always different than my peers, right? And my grandfather, my father's father, he was into sketching. So he used to do like sketching of like animals and faces and stuff. He was really good. And my uncle on my mother's side, he was into like bodybuilding himself. He was a big guy, but he also was into like sketching bodybuilder. My other uncle Rich from my mother's side, he used to do like cartoon comic book figures. So like I was kind of influenced by all of them, and I loved all their styles and how they created this stuff. And I always had a talent, even when I was younger. Like I have an old art book from when I was just random sketches from when I was probably like 5, 6, 7 years old. And some of the stuff was like, wow, it looks like a 14, 15-year-old did this, you know?
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have one. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna send it to Shaq. There's one of Shaquille O'Neal dunking on the mat. On the Magic.
That's cool.
It's pretty good for like for a young kid for that age when I did it. Now that I look back on it, but I continue to do that. I love cartoon characters. You know, I love Marvel. I was big into X-Men. I love Batman, like Batman the series, the cartoon series when I was younger. That like played a major influence. So I was always drawing and sketching. I wanted to do comic books and animation when I was younger. And then by the time I hit high school, I was into clothing. At that point, the clothing was really baggy, and it was just like everything was just big.
Mm-hmm.
So I was designing, you know, I was sketched clothing and concepts and ideas. When I was in high school, I had worked at Toys R Us for a little while. Then I had purchased, and my parents helped me purchase an airbrush compressor, and I had the airbrush, and I just started airbrushing on T-shirts and learning how to airbrush, you know. And the first one I did wasn't so great. My classmates were like, yo, you're never gonna get this. But in a week's time, I was doing portraits. I did a painting of 50 Cent on a shirt. I did a Tupac shirt, and I was just doing what I did. And what happened was I started to realize like so many people, they just doubted me, or they just wanted to hate the fact that I was trying something different, because I was always different. And that just inspired me. Like anytime someone told me like, hey, you can't do this or it's not looking good, I
Hmm.
would just back. Like my thing always, my drive always been to prove someone wrong. Like, oh, you think I can't do that? All right, cool. You know? And so that took me to the next level. I started making money in high school doing t-shirts and sneakers for my classmates. So already in high school, and plus my father's a businessman, I kind of learned how to sell stuff.
Mm.
And from there, I went to SUNY or Westbury for a few years. Then I transferred to FIT. Funny story is, I tried to get into FIT first for menswear, and they didn't accept me, right? Because my
Wow.
clothes was all my styles were baggy. They looked more like academics and Nietzsche and Sean John. And the dude, I remember his name still, Professor Blackman, and he looked at me and he was just like, he looked at my sketches. He was like, this is not fashion. I was like, what do you mean? Like, it's not that he had on like all tight everything. You know, FIT's the guys are a little different than my friends. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, what do you mean? He didn't accept me, and I really took like offense to that because I'm like, yo, at least I can learn how to sketch like this. But you're just because you like that fashion doesn't mean that these people are not going. Like, there's always something for somebody, you know.
Hmm.
So when they didn't accept me, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna. I never change. I'm always me, regardless, right? So I'm like, screw them. I left, went to Old Westbury, came back 2 years. I said, I'm gonna come to FIT. I really wanted to learn how to do menswear and silk screen and stuff. But in my head, I knew all I needed to do was make friends with people that know it. I just need to be around the right people and I'm good. So I
Hmm.
went to FIT really for the connects, not really for the education, unfortunately, right? But and I went in and I went in for fine arts this time. Because in my head, I'm like, they're gonna accept me for art. Like if they're
Yeah,
not, I might still not get in for menswear, but I know they're gonna let me in for art.
for sure.
And they just let me write, oh, like accepted for art, right? And even while I was at FIT, I was dorming one year and I was in Manhattan and I was airbrushing shirts. And I was like, I was always about opportunity. Like I was always a hustler. So while I was at FIT, I started figuring out where the record labels were, where they're at, who goes there, what.
Mm.
I was big. I'm originally from Queens, so I was big into like G Unit and 50 Cent and that. So one day I was airbrushing. And I had a friend that had a screen printing facility in the Bronx that he was showing me how to use a screen printing facility. And then my other friends at FIT were showing me how to use Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. So I'm
Okay.
just like, every day after I get out of class, and sometimes I just did what I wanted to do, but I was always learning myself the way I did. And one day I designed something, right? Like a G Unit, because this is when 50 Cent was going against Kanye West, and they had that little thing going on, right?
Hmm.
It was Curtis versus the graduation. And I went to G Unit office. I came up with a design that had 50's face from the Curtis album, right here, and then it said Run, and then it had the Manhattan skyline on the bottom because he used to be like, I run New York, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
as 50 runs New York, and the T-shirt was black. The image was white, but it glowed in the dark. So I designed it, and I went there one day because one of my friends, Bobby Joe, her boyfriend was one of the guys that created the 50. This is 50 website.
Mm.
So I go there. She showed me where it's at. I go there and I show them like a design I made. The guy was like, "Okay, cool." They wouldn't even open up the door. Like got to the desk with the window. He's like, "All right, cool. Yeah, if you want to leave some stuff, just leave it." All right, cool. I designed some stuff over the weekend because they had a 5 borough tour. I designed it over the weekend. I airbrushed a T-shirt with 50 space on it. It said Curtis. It had rhinestones and all types of glitter on
Mm.
it. I went over there. I dropped off the airbrush shirt for him, and then I dropped off 5 T-shirts of the 50 Run New York shirt. When they seen the T-shirts, the guy came out. He's like, "Yo, this is crazy." I was like, "Yo," and it glows in the dark. "Yo, this is insane."
Hmm.
I said, "Thank you." I leave. There's still after I leave, about 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, as I'm driving out of Manhattan, I get a phone call from like a 212 number. I pick up. "Hello? Yeah. I'm here to speak to Big E." Like, this is big. At that point, they know me as Big E. This is Big E. Yo, these shirts is crazy, man. And I'm like, he's like, "Yo, it's 50. These shirts is crazy." And I'm like,
Oh.
"Nah, dog." I'm like, this I think someone's messing with me now. Like, I didn't even say nothing for a second. "Yo, tomorrow I'm gonna have Jinx at G and they give you a call in the morning. We're gonna need T-shirts." And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "All right." I hung up the phone. It really was him. And then the next morning, I get a phone call. This is at college now. This is in college. I get a phone call the next morning from the G Unit office, and they're like, "Hey, this is Jinx. We're gonna need 500 T-shirts by tonight. 500 T-shirts by tonight." I didn't have a screen printing facility at that point. My friend did, right? And so I was like, "Where am I gonna get 500?" I didn't know this stuff. I was still like 21 years old or something. And so I called up my guy Dex, who I used to help out at the facility. I'm like, "Yo, I just got this order for like 500 shirts. I don't even know where to get the shirts."
Mhm.
So he's like, "Don't worry, I got you." He got me 500 shirts from some African dudes on the like New York
Have a
Ave,
hookup.
on 6th Avenue and 26th or something. And we got these shirts, the big Taliban joints, because at that point they were still wearing long
All the
T-shirts.
big stuff.
Yeah, and we printed 500 shirts, bro. We got them done, and then I rushed from it because that's in the South Bronx. So I left the South Bronx and I went to Midtown, and we drop off the T-shirts. And as soon as I get there, they were getting ready. They're getting ready to do the 5 Borough tour that night. They were doing Manhattan and Staten Island. I get there, there's mad dudes there. It's crazy. It was crazy. And I get there and they open up. They finally let me into the main entrance because they never let me in. I would always be talking to them out there. They let me in, and people are grabbing shirts, and and they had a decent check for me. I didn't even know how much it cost, because they were like, "How much per shirt?" I was like, "I don't know, $10." Like $10, that's expensive for screen printing for like 500 shirts. It's only black with 1 color, 2 color print. But I didn't know, so I just whatever. I made off like a bandit. But long story short, I'm in there, and then next thing you know, I see, and I had given them my shirt with the glitter. It was still, they had it hanging. Tony Yayo comes in. I'm like, "What the hell is Tony Yayo?" Yo, he's like, "Yo, what's good, man?" He's like, "Yo, the shirt." And he's like, "Yo, this is dope. You made this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, cool, boom, boom." Next thing you know, Lloyd Banks comes in. He don't say much. He don't really talk too much. He's just looking, and he keeps it moving. They give him a shirt. He throws his shirt on. All the dudes there were wearing these shirts. There was mad dudes there, like all wearing the shirt. I'm in this little room. Right? Like with an office room, and I'm folding the shirts. Next thing you know, boom, 50 walks in the room, right? He just looks at me, and I look at him with his T-shirts. And in my head, I'm bugging out because this is my favorite rapper at the time. 50, like this is when he was
He's big, the biggest.
big, and I'm just like, holy crap. But I'm just trying to be cool and calm as a fan. So I'm just like, he just looks at me. He was always very aware. If you were around 50, he's always like very assertive.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in my head, I'm like, "Yo, bro, they don't know me. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. They got me alone with 50 Cent in a room right here. Like, I could be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, and so these are things I'm thinking, like, "Yo, bro, why are they even allowing me
He's
to
just
shit?"
right here, right next to me right now.
And I guess they know there's probably like 50 dudes out there. That would be a stupid move, right? And so, whatever the case is, he looks at me, and I told him, what happens is I had one T-shirt on, right? And then I went downstairs. It was like a painted T-shirt. I went downstairs and I changed my shirt. And it was a shirt and it had me on it, right? It was super Harriet. It had me on it with an airbrush, right? And it was green and it glowed in the dark too. And it was like hooked up. And so when I put it back on, I came in, I had some matching dunks to go with it. And now everybody's looking at our shirt like, "Yo, that's crazy." I'm giving out cards and stuff, right? I'm playing chess here, right? And that 50, I see him, he keep looking at my T-shirt, and then he'll look down and keep moving. So I said, "Yo, I got a shirt for you." He looks at me, he's like, "All right, where's it at?" So I went over, and he was like, "Oh, these shirts." He thought it was just the regular shirts I printed. I was like, "Nah, that's for everybody." I said, "Over here." So it was just sitting there looking pretty with the light hitting it with the glitter. So he's like, "Oh, word." He took it, stretched it out a little bit. He took off his shirt. He had a vest underneath it, right? Like classic 50. He took off his shirt and threw my shirt on. And that was the second time that someone that was a rapper, a big, wore my T-shirt that I actually designed and painted at a concert or something like that. And then from there, it was just like, did Cassidy before, hence DJ Thorough. He's the connect with Cassidy. Probably like a few months before, I had Cassidy wearing my shirt on his 777 mixtape and for 2007. And since there, it's just been like clothing. It was clothing and art and music, right? Still doing music. At that point, it was just regular rap stuff, trying to get in the game. So for me, it was like, this is how I got into the game. If I do something that other people don't do, because every rapper's gonna be like, "Here, take my mixtape, get out of here." So I didn't want to be like everybody else. So I'm like, I have something to offer. You know what I'm saying? I'm a street art. And at that point I was a street artist. I was airbrushing and I had art and I can screen print and design clothing. So I was designing and linking up with them, and then it kind of transitioned. And then I had opened up a store. My parents were really helpful. They've always had my back. And I always tell people like it's important to have your kids back because it depends on their future, right? Especially the Latinos and minorities. It's like the two parents being there is so crucial, right? I have a lot of friends that didn't have both parents and they didn't choose certain the right directions, like having a father there. And so my father and my mother, they helped me open up a store in 2011, right on the Loose Design Studio. At first, we opened it up as a clothing brand. I had clothes coming in and out of Manhattan. We had some clothes in some like big stores, and then it kind of transitioned because now I'm in Green Lawn, Huntington, Long Island. There's not much going on over there. I have my store here, kind of changed the environment, but still, you know, I'm originally from Queens, so my thought process is different than someone that was born in Long Island. I'm a
Hmm.
little more street, so like, and I'm hustle, like I don't stop. So my store there, I had to figure out the clothes weren't selling in the area because no, that wasn't their
It's a different
style.
market really around
Different
there.
market, so it was selling over here, but it wasn't here. So now I had to figure out how to make money in the store. So we transitioned from being a t-shirt boutique to a place that does promo items. So people would come in and be like, "Hey, you guys, can you guys make a logo for me?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like let's say what you have on right now. Hey, I want a smiley face with like rainbow colors and different colors on, and I want words around it. Sure. So we were doing logos, we were
Hmm.
doing promo stuff. So we would create your logo, we print your t-shirts. If you had a restaurant, we do your menus and all that stuff. And I was doing that for a few years. That was my main job. I would stay there. I had my storefront, and it was all right, but it was just very difficult in the area that I was in. So what happens around 2016? My daughter um, was about my wife was pregnant with my daughter, and not many people know, but we knew. And so I said to myself, I need to do something, like to make some money. I need to do something. And I always wanted to do murals and street art. I did like two walls before, but nothing ever came from it. So I said, I'm gonna do this, and that's what I did. Pokemon Go came out.
The Pokemon
Pokemon
one.
Go,
Okay.
yeah, Pokemon Go came out that week. I said, I'm gonna paint the side of my building, and I said, I'm gonna put Pokemon. It wasn't my building; it was the landlord. But I asked him if it was okay. He said, sure. I painted 151 of the first generation Pokemon on the
Sheesh.
building. It was
Yeah,
crazy when
that's
I
a
told
big
people.
one.
Yeah, that's crazy. It was a crazy piece. And when I told my family, my wife, my friends, they're like, what's wrong with you? Like, you can't put like five big Pokemon on the building and call it a day. And I'm like, I could, but I have to, like in my head, I was thinking about my daughter and the future and like, I need to go viral. That was my thing.
Okay.
I said, I need to go viral. And that's what I did. I said, we're going to go viral. And we painted it and I had my workers send out media stuff and things to like Associated Press. Newsday picked it up, then Associated Press. Once Associated Press picked it up, it was on. It was in every country, in Germany, in Africa. Dog, I had people on Facebook messaging me. They thought I was living in Germany. They were speaking to me in different languages. It was crazy. So that was the first time I went viral, and
Wow.
that changed my life. Because what happens is that got me jobs doing murals in Queens and stuff like that. So there's different money. There's different money in murals than in screen printing and logos, right? So that started becoming my bread and butter. And I still had the store, but it was kind of like a drag because I wanted to be out there doing art, but I still have a store and I have employees here. So what happened was in 2018, what I did when I painted a mural, I drove a lot of traffic to Green Lawn where people wasn't coming before. You had people from other states, other countries. I had people from India that came specifically to New York to come see this wall. It was
Wow.
crazy. It turned into a Pokemon gym and stuff like that. And so a Pokestop or something. So now it's like a landmark over
It's
there.
yeah, people are actually going there through the app then.
Correct, correct. So you always see people taking picture there. But what happens is I kind of kicked myself out of the building because now everything in that area went up in price because of that one wall. Everything went up in price. So the landlord was like, one day he's like, yo, we're selling the building. You guys got to be out in 30 days.
Sheesh.
Are you serious? So that was a whole big issue. But it was the best thing that happened. I always said God knows what he does. Like For me, I would have still probably been there trying to make something succeed when it's like, that was my time. My time was already there. That's it. So the only way for me to leave is for God to be like, push me out. It's time. I did what I did for the community, right? Like I couldn't do no more. I already, drove people in, drove traffic, hired up the price of the area that I love so much. And so I got kicked out. I was pissed off, but it was actually, I thought it was a curse, but it was a gift because now I don't have the overhead. I didn't have the employees. I didn't have to worry about that. I could just focus on art and doing street art and murals. And for me, if I need to do a mural in California and I'm there for a week, but then I have a store and my employees are doing who knows what, so it just made sense. And it made me available and free to be wherever I need to be, whenever I need to be. So that's pretty much a quick gist of my art history.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that. That's pretty awesome. That your art brought you to places maybe where you didn't think or where you were trying to go, but your painting brought you to 50 Cent and doing these other things. And then, that's a really amazing story with the Pokemon Go wall and raising the price of that whole area. Like just that one thing that you did raised everything and brought so much traffic. So that's really cool. Um, Talk about the transition from doing something small like screen printing or t-shirt design to a mural. Was there a little bit of an adjustment period for that? Or was it just like, hey, this is a bigger canvas, I see the perspective and I got this?
Um, I actually I like painting big. So, they called me Big E back in the day. So I had to even with the art when I was at FIT, you had everybody. First of all, I was different. When I'm at FIT, there's not many dudes like, right? There isn't. So I'm like, I stick out like a sore thumb. Plus, I'm like 6'2". Right now, I'm probably like 270, right? So I'm a big guy. So when I go anywhere, I see all these people painting these little canvases, and I'm like, what do I look like? You know what I mean? So I want to go bigger. That's just how I am. Everything needs
Got
to
it.
be big.
Okay.
That's always me. Everything needs to be big. It has to be grand. It has to be crazy. And so when they're painting these little things, I want big canvases. I want people to see my stuff. I don't need, still to this day, I have people I just need a 17 by a 16 by 20. And I'm like, well, 16 by 20, you're still going to spend at least $1,500 for something like that. So you might as well get something bigger because for me to paint with a small paintbrush is tedious. But, I don't mind big. I'd rather big. I learned how to airbrush first. I learned how to spray paint later. But if you learn how to airbrush, if you know how to airbrush, spray paint is second nature. And it's easy because the airbrush is like a trigger. You have to pull back on the airbrush. The spray can just push up and down. So it's similar, but you need more steady hands with an airbrush. So to go from screen printing, which is totally different, to be honest with you, most artists that paint nowadays a little different. But at that time when I was doing it, most artists that paint just painted.
Mm-hmm.
They like to be handy. Most artists that did graphics only did
Had the
graphics.
one style. You were kind of really dipping into everything and trying to learn everything.
I had to because I had a business where I had to do logos and graphics for my clients. I had to make advertisements. I was doing websites for my clients. So I had to know how to do this because that was my moneymaker. At that point, art wasn't making money. It was like the graphic design stuff was making money, doing logos for landscapers. The art was just fun. It was me trying to figure out how to make money from art. But me learning the business aspect of graphic actually worked out for my art because now if I go to a client, I can mock up something digitally, show them, and then from there paint it on a wall. You know what I'm saying? So it actually it worked out pretty easily to go from small to large. Because to be honest, sneakers, I love painting sneakers. But if I touch a sneaker, you're looking at least $800 the cost for me to paint the sneaker. People are like, are you kidding me? I paid already $250 for these sneakers. I'm like, bro, I don't mean to disrespect you or you get angry, but for me to paint a sneaker, I could probably paint a wall because the sneaker might take 2 days with the masking and taping and drying and heating and the layers. 2 days of work. I could do a wall in 2 days for $2,500, $4,000. Right? So for me to paint sneakers and charge you 400, 500 for 2 days of work doesn't make sense to me. So a lot of times I don't even touch it unless someone's like, "Yo, I got you 800,000. He's $1,500." Then we could paint the sneaker. But other than that, I'd rather paint large than paint small.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's talk about kind of what you paint. We touched on a lot of it here, but on your website, it seems that, maybe a lot of people that influenced you from Queens, especially. I saw Nas, a few things of Prodigy, LL, but also some people not from Queens. You know, obviously we talked about Shaq. I saw a really nice one of Pac. I saw Basquiat and Warhol on there. And also I saw that you recently did a mural at your alma mater at Walt Whitman High School, correct?
Correct, correct.
So um, you really like to bring awareness to people through your art, I feel like. And that mural that you did at the high school does that a lot, I believe. Frida Kahlo, you have her as the Statue of Liberty. You have a lot of landmarks from around the world on there. What were you trying to, what's the idea and your intention behind that piece? And, you know, doing it, obviously the high school asked you to do it, but kind of talk about your intention and idea behind that.
Well, it's a collaboration, right? So with Chef, which is part of the South Huntington School District, and then the language society over there, the Spanish and Italian and French. So it was a collab. So they wanted me to do something that expressed like world things and something that had to do with languages, specifically Spanish, Italian, and French.
Mm.
So I like culture. I like mixing things. You know what I'm saying? Like I love seeing different things, and so I wanted to portray something. You know, we're from New York, and everybody knows New York. One of the main things when you see New York is the Statue of Liberty, right? That's like a New York thing, and I love
Mhm.
painting the Statue of Liberty because it's such an iconic piece, and it looks so dope. Um, my bad. So I'm just like, let's do the Statue of Liberty, but maybe let's make her, because they wanted to also portray art because I'm an artist. So I said, what if we made her Frida? And they're like, oh, that's great. And you know, you have some people that are like, well, Frida represents communism. There was a whole big thing, actually. It's more than just what it looks. And I'm like, bro, you guys are ODing. Like, not them, but other people that we're talking about. And the thing is, like, I'm talking about people. I'm not talking about some people's thought process. I'm not talking about people's beliefs. I'm talking about having love for different people, no matter what they look like, right? And so what happens is people can sometimes what people do is they don't like something because they don't like it or they don't like what it looks like, right? And what they'll do is they'll find something negative about that person or something that they did to give them a reason to say this is not good, right? So I see that happen a lot. People always use something for their benefit. Like if you don't like it, you're gonna find something to say why you don't like it, and then you hope that people follow it. So for me, I try not to judge people. You know, as a Christian, as someone that follows Christ, I try to give people an opportunity. And you know, for me, it was like Frida represents Latino, and I'm Latino. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to represent everybody. I'm not just Latino. I'm for the world. So you know, I try to show and love everybody, no matter what color, race, background, thought process, even sexual preference. You know what I'm saying? And I don't agree with everything, but at the end of the day, I also have to show you love, like Jesus loved his lamb and his sheep. Um, so for me, it was important to show the world and how it looks from people's perspective, but also to show that America is more than just one thing. There's so many different ideas and perspectives. So that's what that wall was about. And it meant a lot for me to be able to do it at a place that, you know, I wasn't sure if I was going to graduate from.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool that you're able to go there and do that. And it sounds like it was a process to figure out what was gonna be in the work and how it all came together. But I appreciate that, and I'm sure the students do. And hopefully, you know, they'll see the full aspect of it, not just what it is. Frida on there, it's the pyramids, it's this, it's that, the whole idea of it. Really great work.
Thank you.
Some other type of work you do, we talked about a whole lot of painting and, you know, graffiti and the evolution of that, but we talked about also a little bit that you rap. You're an artist in that sense also. So I saw that you have some videos from like 2014 and 15 even, but I believe March 16th, just in a couple of weeks, you're going to be dropping an album or EP, Welcome to the Quarantine. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. My engineer's in the studio right now mixing down one of the tracks actually.
Nice.
Here it might be bumping a little. I closed the doors. But yeah, we're wrapping that up. It's an album. It's called Welcome to the Quarantine. Got about 12, 13 tracks on it. Depends on if Scram Jones is gonna get things done today. But long story short, yeah, it's Really, it's different. Like I dropped a mixtape in 2011. It was called In the Warehouse, right? And it was gritty. It was about being in a warehouse and work. It had the same similar vibe, but it was a little more cursing and things that I don't do anymore, right? So this album is gonna be still gonna be gritty. It's still gonna sound like straight hip hop. It's gonna sound like different sounds. It's gonna sound a little abstract, but it's gonna be representing Christ and it's gonna praise God in everything I do. So I have some dope features on it. I actually have, and they're not all Christian rappers, right? Like I have 2 or 3 Christian rappers on there. Other people are just regular rappers because I I want to show people that you don't have to be a Christian artist to talk about God or to rap about God,
Hmm.
right? So like when you think about Jesus Christ, what did he do? He dealt with all types of people. He dealt with sinners, tax collectors. He dealt with prostitutes and all types of people you would never think that he would do. Why? Because he was trying to show you how we're supposed to reflect his love. So for me to just be like, oh, I'm only gonna have Christian rappers on this album, but not other people, and they're praising God, that don't make sense. So I have the rapper Graf, Queens native,
Yep.
friend of mine, Graf. He's on the track, the actual track, Welcome to the Quarantine.
Mm.
And I have Chris Rivers, who's Big Pun's son.
I saw that. That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. And Big Pun was probably, at one point, he was my favorite rapper of all time. He's still one of my favorites. I think if he was still alive, he'd be my favorite rapper. So to have his son on there is just, it's iconic. It's something that I'm blessed to be able to say I have. Because he's very underrated. He should be bigger at where he's at right now. Then we have William Cada, who's a dope Christian rapper. He's up and coming. He's fire. He's from the Bronx.
Hmm.
We have Selah the Corner, who's a Christian hip hop artist. He signed to God Over Money, which is one of the bigger Christian hip hop labels out there right now. Right, the guy who runs God Over Money, his name is Bizzle. He's a dope rapper, right? And then I have my boy Show Nuff. We went to high school together. He's been on a mixtape. I have him on 2 tracks. We have a chick named Leah, a woman. She's dope. She's really fire. Her name is Leah Harris. She has a great following on Instagram. Great voice. Who else I got? I got a dude named Jay Sos. He's from Brentwood, Long Island. If you're from Long Island and you know the rap game, Jay Sos is a beast.
Hmm.
Like people respect Jay, so they know when he gets on the track. He's actually on the track with me and Pun's son, Chris Rivers. That track is crazy.
Bar fest.
Huh?
Sounds like a bar fest.
Yeah, it's just bars, straight bars, right? I actually got one song called Holy Bars. That's the song that has both the Christian artists on it. Who else I have? I have this his rapper slash singer. His name's On Q. He was really popping at one point, probably like 2013, 2012. Just a great lyrical beast. So he's on there. He actually was on Eminem, the Revival album. He wrote one of the choruses, that Alicia Keys song or something like that. So pretty crazy. So I have some really interesting people on there. But it's called Welcome to the Quarantine. Comes out March 16th. It's actually my daughter's birthday on March 16th. So this is a gift to her as well. And there's a lot of stuff. It's really supposed to be a time capsule. So Welcome to the Quarantine is supposed to make you feel from the intro to the end. Has news anchor, like it has the news in it about stuff that was happening. And it's supposed to be like what we went through during this time period, right? So it has to do with depression. It has to do with looking for God. It has to do with going through crazy ideas. It has to go with being angry. It has to do with, family issues, things that we're all going through at the moment that we kind of keep behind closed doors. Because I wanted people to understand that I not only do I feel it, but they know that other people are feeling it too. But also a lot of the album has to do with prayer. For me, how prayer has helped me get through these times that other people are having a hard time with. So it's a lot of different things. But I'm also going to drop an art book. It might drop a few weeks after the album drops. And with the art book, you'll get the actual cover, a hard copy of the album, and probably like a T-shirt. We're gonna have some cool merch, and my album cover is gonna be that best album cover of 2021. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to seeing the cover, number one, but hearing the album, it sounds like it's going to be a great body of work. I'm a DJ. I listen to albums front to back, no skips. You got to get it. you got to listen to it how the artist intended, almost as a movie. You don't skip scenes, you know what I mean? You listen to it, you watch it
Mhm.
front to back. So I'm very excited to hear that. Sounds like something I could even put my mom onto, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I always try to
yeah.
put her onto some hip hop with good ideas and the positivity and energy and just good messaging and stories. And that's what it sounds like this album will be filled with. So really looking forward to that.
You actually hit it right on the nail, right? This is something that anybody could listen to, right? And yeah, there's some aggression. Yeah, there's some like, I have one guy that says something about the church, right? He's not a church goer, he's not a Christian dude, but he's saying how he feels. And I don't stop people from being who they are and showing their artistry, right? But at the end of the day, this is the world we live in, right? And I said, hey, I want your mother to be able to listen to it and be like, wow, that's really good. But I also want someone in the street that knows hip hop be like, damn, son, I can't believe like he's talking like this is crazy, right? So I wanted to hit all corners, and I think I kind of did. So it is what it is. I'm hoping that people appreciate it.
Absolutely. I think they will. I'm definitely going to be sharing it, buying, supporting, and, playing it on my Twitch streams and stuff like that. So very excited to hear it. Before we go, just a couple of quick fun questions. So we're from Long Island, New York,
I'm
home.
listening.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I got you. Home of pizza. I make pizza up here on Cape Cod. We brought the New York style, you know what I mean? We do our thing up
listening.
here. But do you have a favorite pizza spot on Long Island or the city? Where's your spot? I know Little Vinny's is in Huntington, right?
Yeah, I mean,
A little
Little Vince
overrated or
is a
classic?
overrated. I don't think it's overrated. I think it just tastes better when you're drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? But as overrated, I like Little Vincent's. They have the thin crust. Then they have the cold cheese
Cold cheese
pizza,
slice, yep.
cold mozzarella on. So everybody just loves that. When you're tipsy and you're done with the club or bar, it tastes like heaven, right? Like that's
I've been
just
on
what
the Halloween bar call out there. Yes, it does.
it tastes like heaven at that time. So, but I would say I think there's no better pizza than Long Island pizza, and I've been to every borough, I've been to city. I love city pizza. Any New York slice that's in the metro area is great, but Long Island pizza to me, there's nothing better than Long Island pizza.
Hmm.
But I would say like my favorite to go to spot um, in Huntington's, I like Giuseppe's in Huntington. They have like a sweet slice pizza that's really good. And I have another pizza spot that I really like, but I'm not gonna mention them because I have a little issue with them.
Mm,
So I'm not even gonna bring the name up because I don't go there no more. But if I did go there, I would shout them out big time. But
that
you
would be
know
the
what? You
spot.
don't get that shout out from me.
Well, hey, hopefully, if you ever come to Cape Cod to do commission or artwork or just for vacation, because it is a beautiful, nice spot here in the summertime, we'd love to have you. I got pizzas on me. If you come to Good Eats on 6, I got you.
Good
But
Eats on a Good Eats on 6. They need a mural, man, so I can go out there and we can make it.
interesting story, actually. There's a big student worker population that comes from Europe through a J1 student working program to get visas and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I actually had a student worker from Bulgaria who is a graffiti artist, and he put a big ass burger, pizza slice, fries, all that stuff. So we have some out front, but maybe we'll get the Andaluz in there too. That
Hey,
would be an
hey,
honor
where we
for
can get
sure.
another spot, man. I don't have nothing in Cape Cod, so we can do something cool right on the water, man.
All right, all right. We'll talk. We'll talk about that. Another thing, you mentioned you being Latino. I believe I saw that you're Dominican and Ecuadorian, right?
Correct.
So Dominican, my girlfriend is Dominican. I go over to her house, have the Brugal at the holiday parties. What's
Oh man.
something, me being a DJ, I need to expand my Dominican playlist a little bit more. You got anybody for me, even, outside of Dominican, any kind of old school Latino artists that I need to have in my playlist?
Um, I mean, I would say, you already know if you're Dominican, you already know that Romeo Santos is the biggest thing over there. You know what I mean? Like there gets no bigger than Romeo Santos. But I would say Juan Luis would be great to put in your list. I would also say Ecuadorian. If you go Ecuadorian, you're gonna go way back to a classic time of music, right? And with what's his name? I'm losing my mind right now. with but, oh Julio Jaramillo, sorry, Julio Jaramillo is classic Ecuadorian legend right there, right? So I would say when you're talking about legends, you're looking at those three right there from the different spots. If you're looking at like new modern age stuff, I don't know too much. Wish I knew more, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But right now the guys, you already know the guys that are rocking and just in the Latin music is like Bad Bunny
Hmm.
and all these guys like that. So
Hmm. I'm more of the old school. I like the classic stuff. I got tons of vinyl records here next to me, so we're gonna look those guys up, get them added in the
yo,
playlist for
if you
sure.
into, do you make beats?
A little bit, a little bit.
When you get a chance, Julio Jaramillo, man, listen to some of those guitars from that music back then is crazy. You're not gonna
Mm.
find nothing like that.
All right, some good stuff to sample. We're definitely gonna be looking into that. Andaluz, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with me here on Flavor in Your Ear Radio. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to hopefully getting one of these auction pieces, or eventually I'm gonna have to get a commission piece. I really love your art so much and what you represent. So,
Who do you think we should be painting on Sunday? We have two people, so
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. I seen Nas you did recently. Um, Jay, you did. Have you done Outcast?
no, I haven't. I was thinking about doing Andre 3000.
Andre
Um,
3000. Premiere?
I haven't done Primo yet. No.
Premiere. RZA. I'm a big Wu Tang guy, so I know you did a few Wu Tang
Yeah, we could.
members. You know,
Oh, we could do Method Man. Maybe it was his birthday yesterday or something like
yes, it
that.
was.
So we could do Method Man. That's a great idea.
METHOD, man. Another
Method
Long
Man.
Island, coming from Long
Yo,
Island.
yeah, well, Method Man is my favorite Wu Tang member. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell none of the other dudes I told you that.
I won't.
But
I won't.
Method's my favorite just because I just love his voice. Like to me, like Method Man's voice is like nothing represents hip hop more than Method Man's voice. Like when I think of hip hop, I see Method Man's face and his voice. Like that's hip hop right there. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he's greatest. I'm just saying like his voice, his grittiness. Like I don't think no one could match that. As far as lyrically, Ghostface is a beast, right? Like you know what I'm saying? And Jizza is a monster. But
Hmm.
just like sound quality, I go with Method Man all the time.
Yeah, I love Method. His consistent like flow and how he just gets after it, and how he's still getting after it to this day. I hear new
Today,
verses all the time, and yeah, he's killing it. I love the stuff he does on Static's tracks, and yeah, he did one with Kanye last year, Lemonade, whichever one. That one was awesome. But
and just so you know, Scram Jones is actually, I have to shout him out. That's my brother and partner. He's on Jim Jones' new album that he's working on. I think he produced most of the beats on there. And then shout out to Jim Jones. He had me live on his Instagram painting Mike Tyson. Shout out to Fat Joe. We did something with him. We got some art in his store. So we're making moves this year. This year coming up, we have a lot more artists. We're trying to do podcasts. We're trying to do a lot of things. So
awesome. Andaluz, tell them where they can follow you to keep in touch with you and find all this great stuff that's coming.
you can follow me at andaluztheartist.com. You can follow me at Andaluz the Artist, ANDALUZ, Andaluz. And just Google Kobe Bryant mural in Brooklyn and I'll pop up.
There you go. Yeah, he's got a lot of great stuff. So definitely go to his website, check out all that stuff. Make sure you follow, connect. Andaluz, once again, thank you so much for doing this. And I look forward to seeing the next art class live session.
Thank you for having me, brother. You take care.
Take care, man.